in the center dot. Ball is in the air, and we are underway. It will be Bobcat basketball to start the contest. That's 5 minutes gone here in the first act of play. Rosario all by himself with all kinds of time, and passes to Levine. Levine spins, 15 feet jumper, yes. Lubert at the top of the key, 15 on the shot clock. Lubert finds a seam and lays it up, and finds Lubert. Lubert to the left side to a wide open Mitchell, and Mitchell back to Stone. Stone has that tipped away by Wood. Zachary White into the game. Hands off and finds Wyndham, and Wyndham pump fakes and Zimmerman. Zimmerman at the top of the key to Rackley. Rackley plants and shoots the three-pointer and banks it in. Left elbow outside to Rosario. Rosario goes up, goes under, and good. And that will do it for the opening 20 minutes of play. And this championship game, 20 minutes down, 20 minutes to go, as the Tigers of Voorhees lead the Bobcats of the College of the Ozarks 31-27. We're going to step. Rosario gets his 5th board of the night underneath. Joel Davis, great move underneath. Rosario heaves it down to Bowie. Bowie able to keep it in. Here is Davis, and Davis will lay it home. Lubert goes down to a posting Stone. 5 on the shot clock to a cutting. Beautiful move there as Mitchell found down. Goes to Davis. Davis goes into the paint, lays it in with the right hand. Is Blue. Blue finding Rosario. Passes to Davis. Davis. Malik Wood goes by himself out to Rosario now. Rosario's three-pointer, and that's no good. Davis gets the board. Davis lays it up. Off the wing. Looks up. 10 on the timer. He'll back off. Goes out to Davis. Joel Davis for 3. He'll knock it in. Rosario will hold on to it. And Voorhees College will take home the crown of the AII Men's Basketball Conference Championship. So congratulations to the Voorhees.
There we have it. If you missed all the action, there's a little snippet of how it went down and how we ended the AII conference tournament. We ended it as conference champions. Let's go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How are you feeling? How's the team doing? What a wild ride that we went on, man, and congratulations.
Appreciate it, Mondre. Definitely a wild ride, a season of flexibility and adaptability. Just so proud of these guys, man, and how they battled through the season. My staff included. Only team in the country to start January 4th. Trying to recruit a team to bring together November and December, getting that team together January 4th, playing a condensed season really quickly, and culminating in a championship, man. The hats off to those guys, hats off to my staff, the man above for putting all this thing together. It's been fun, man. Just to see these guys see the finish line, and what I mean, just the finish line of that part of our season. We knew, we went and we got on that bus, and these guys said we're gonna go shock the world. Nobody's gonna understand what we've been through, and we finna go take this thing. And they had that mindset, and we pulled it out. I mean, we stepped up for one another. It was different guys on different nights. Give you an example. Hector Rosario has been our leading scorer all year, and in the semifinals, he didn't have his best game, and we had guys pick him up. And then he gets to the championship game, and he's back to the Hector Rosario that we've been looking for. Staten Levine just came up big the whole tournament, 29 points and 14 rebounds in the semifinals, then comes back in the final game and had, 13 points. Taiwan Bowie, being steady, double figures in both games, the production from Joel Davis in the championship game, 23 points. There was a stretch where he just took over the game in the second half of the championship game, and other contributors, Bryce Williams and Malik Wood, and I can keep going on and on, Willie Ferguson, everybody, Terrell Wyndham knocking down big shot after big shot, especially in the semifinals. So it was a collective effort, man. And, the job's not done. I can tell you right now, our job is that we want to become the first team here at Voorhees to go win a game in the NAIA tournament, national tournament. So we're excited. We're happy. But when we started practice today, all what happened this past weekend was over. Gave the guys a couple of days when we got back. Once we got back, late Sunday, Monday and Tuesday, let's go concentrate on academics as we get around, midterm week is here. So had those guys concentrate on that. We had some stuff we had to do for NAIA as far as protocol to get ready. So that took some time. So gave them some time off. Said, take Monday and Tuesday. Be happy we won. Celebrate, whatever, But when Wednesday comes, it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
For sure. It's. I hope the guys are understanding that, I think you mentioned this in one of our earlier shows that to do something that's never been done, and we started this before the team was allowed on campus. Right when you accepted your job, we talked about, hey, let's go get one. When's the last time an HBCU school won a national title?
Yep.
And it's going to take some sacrifice and doing some things that maybe you haven't done before. Let's talk about that a little bit. Just some of the ups and downs of this type of season is something like that we've never seen before.
It's so funny. We had our last practice here on campus in Denmark that Wednesday, and we talked about sacrifice. That was our thing, and we went around a circle, including coaches, and everybody had to say what they were willing to sacrifice to get the job done and win this championship, this conference championship. We had guys talk about they were going to have to sacrifice their ego. They were going to have to sacrifice how many shots they took. They were going to have to sacrifice how many minutes they may play. Some people even said they were going to have to sacrifice time away from the court, whether it's playing video games or talking to their girlfriend. It just went on, and those guys really bought in and believed in that. And, from our practice, once we got down to where we got over to Arkansas at Crawley's Ridge, to our shoot around, everything was so just on point, and they were so focused. And I think that's a testament to the adversity that we went through. We talk about the January 4th date when we got here, but it's even more than that. When we got here, and then, obviously COVID was around, and we had some contact tracing, and, we had to go play some games with only 8 guys. We had to play a game when we didn't have everybody because they were banged up. We had to play back-to-back some games. We had to go on a 5-game, 10-day road trip. Things like that. That adversity really helped us. It made us who we are. It brought us to the point of winning the championship.
Every time I hear you talk about adversity, I think about this.
Yes,
and you and I kind of talked about this where, hey, maybe we didn't expect that this was going to be the case, but it definitely played a role in you guys winning that conference championship. When you look down at the bottom of this graphic, it's the AII conference #1 ranked team in the RPI. Almost a little, the RPI almost did predict the eventual champion of the conference. What do you say to the type of schedule that you kind of put together coming out this season?
I mean, you know me from previously before Voorhees, and I'm never going to shy away from playing the best, because to me, that's the only way you get better is to play the best. And I think even in this season, even though it was condensed, even though it was shorter, those games really prepared us to get to that point, to know what it was going to take to win a close game, and know what it was going to take to really have to focus for 40 minutes. And I think our strength of schedule, that RPI, all that played a tremendous factor, because we were ready to play. I mean, considering we had to play, probably one of the people that I think is, top of the line NAIA programs in College of the Ozarks, who's in our conference, to play them for the conference championship. They've been to Final Fours, they've won championships, they've done that on a consistent basis. So you've got a culture in that program that they know how to win. To beat them in a conference championship says a lot. And it's not taking anything away from our guys. I do want everybody to understand, this is the second time in 3 years we won this conference championship. This one's just a little bit different because of COVID and what we went through. But we have a culture of success here at Voorhees, and it wasn't started by me. But my job is to make sure that our guys continue to live on with that legacy and push it past where it is right now.
It's huge. When we talk about programs, and you and I have had a lot of conversations, and our good friend Locke has had a lot of conversations about what it means to be a high major program, right? We talk about that all the time. Referencing your statement of, hey, I run this program like it's Duke, like it's Kentucky, right? That's all winning programs, I feel like, regardless of level, have things in common. Um, with you running this the way that you have this season, what has been some of the things that maybe players had to get used to, right? Because high major programs, they're able to change coaches because you know what? They go hire the right guy.
Right.
When they lose a guy, they go hire the next right guy to run the program. Voorhees has done that. What do players get used to though, from coach to coach, to say, nope, we're not dipping down a level at all. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to put my foot on the gas and go forward. What are some of the things they may have to adjust to a little bit?
Well, it starts off being, I heard this quote and I told my guys this last week as well. The standard is the standard. It doesn't change.
There you go.
It doesn't change because it's a shortened season. It doesn't change because of COVID protocols. The standard is the standard. And you've got to raise your level of expectation to that standard. So the guys who have been here before knew that standard. So the guys that I brought in had to understand the standard that they had to live up to from Coach Mitchell and even before Coach Mitchell for the basketball program here. And I think some of the things was just that attention to detail. We had to master that attention to detail, which we didn't have a chance to get through a preseason or early, October, November schedule. So once we got mastered that attention to detail and we begin to execute and do the little things that I knew this team could do when we got them all together, whether they were previous players here or the guys that were recruited in, we knew this was possible. We just kept saying as a staff, like, if this had been a regular season, where we would be right now. Some of those games, we felt some of those games that we lost, 4 games where we lost by a combined 13 points. Like, we didn't feel we would have lost those games in a regular situation where we had the amount of time that you normally have. So it was really the attention to detail. Things as small as having an itinerary when you get on a bus, even if it's a bus trip that you're going and coming right back. Those are attention to details that make championship programs.
For sure. Coach, talk to us a little bit about the guys, as you said, that understood what the standard was and were able to help the newer guys get adjusted and become accustomed to that championship standard that's here at Voorhees College. How big has it been to have the Taiwan Buoys and some of those guys that were here before to help steady that ship during times of adversity?
We wouldn't be where we are if it wasn't for those guys. Because you get a Taiwan Buoy and a Willie Ferguson and a Stan Levine who were on that team that played, that won the AII championship 2 years ago. So they know what it took to get there and to win it. So to have those guys was big. But I want to mention a guy named Jarvis Martin. He's a senior on our team, and because of some other circumstances, hasn't been able to play this year. But he's been one of the biggest factors of leadership for us, for these guys. Like, you're talking about a guy who practices every day and doesn't get to play, but he's on that bench telling guys what to do. Like, he's almost like having another coach. He's been really big for us.
Wow.
Really big for us.
Wow. Definitely being there to help direct the ship. He's definitely learning from one of the best coaches in the game. How much pressure has it been at times on you to understand that, hey, out of all years to become the head coach of a college basketball team, you get to become the coach during a COVID year. You're hired in November?
Late October, November, yep.
You don't get your team until January, and it's, hey, coach, by the way, your team is on campus. Go play next week. Coach, we talk about the team, but man, how has it been, this roller coaster ride? How has it been for you?
Whirlwind. I use that word a lot, whirlwind. It just feels like yesterday was November 2nd when I think I moved down here. Feels like yesterday was January 4th when those guys were moving in and just getting here. So that we got in that locker room, that excitement for winning it all, it was a combination of all those things, man. And as a coach, you can't lie. When you walk into a program that has success that Voorhees has had, you want to continue that success. So when you have some adversity because of situations, you can be hard on yourself as a coach, but you also can understand and trust the process. And that was one of the things myself and Coach Williams and Coach O, we preach to each other, because sometimes you got to preach it to each other, even as coaches. There were times we'd be on the bus ride back and my head would be down, and Coach Williams would just tell me, he said, Coach, we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. We're going to be all right. And I think that was a thing, even I told Ms. Johnson, our athletic director, when the opportunity came, and I'm not afraid to share it with the whole world who's listening, because my team already knows it. Because we didn't start to January, our conference didn't know if we wanted to participate in the conference tournament. And they asked our athletic director, did we want to participate? And my athletic director was like, yes. I'm going to ask Coach just to make sure. And I don't say this in a cocky or arrogant way.
Yeah.
But Ms. Johnson will tell you, if you ever talk to her, that I said, yes, we want to play because I believe we have a shot. And those are the exact words I told her.
Yes.
And exact words I told the team. And here we stand, conference champions. I just knew where we had come from January 12th, our first game, which was 8 days after they got on campus, to where we were going into this tournament. I felt it. We as a coaching staff, we players, everybody felt where we were, that we had turned the knob and had reached another level.
For sure. Coach, I was amazed very early on in the season. I don't think people understand how hard it was even to have these guys organized early on.
Right.
You guys look like a basketball team from very, very early on. We're talking about 5-6 practices in, you're playing, and you already look like a basketball team and running semblance of offense. You had different actions that you were running very early on. What are some of the things along the way, though, that you feel like the team started to kind of absorb and really get better at?
When you have limited time, you're trying to put so much in. And I think early on, we were trying to put so much in offensively, defensively, skill development, just a sideline out of bounds, baseline out of bounds, culture stuff, everything. You're just trying to –
yes.
January 4th, you're just trying to punch it in.
Yes.
We didn't have a lot of time in practice to actually – we competed every day in practice, whether it was drills, you do some 3-on-3, 4-on-4 shell, but we never went up and down. And that moment when we got to the point, all right, we know all the plays. We know exactly what to do on this. And we started going up and down more, it changed, because now guys who had never played with each other knew exactly what the other person wanted the ball at. They knew exactly how this guy was going to defend. Like, we want to do certain things defensively, but I know what this guy can really do defensively, so I know he's going to do this, so I can be in his help. If you watched us, especially in the final, the championship game, defensively, we were locked in. And the Ozarks is a really good offensive team. They can shoot the cover off the ball. They've got guys that can go inside. They got 6'9" guys. And there came a point in the game where you could hear them yelling to their coach, we can't run our offense, coach. We can't run our offense.
Wow. So it's funny you say that, Coach, because I was watching the tape while we were clipping it up, and I wish I could have got all the steals. But they were steals and deflections. I wanted to put together clips of steals, deflections, and most importantly, the time where there was a cutter and you guys just stood them up.
Yep.
Completely knocked off the rhythm of that offense. But they had a computer motorized camera and not an actual cameraman that didn't follow all the action the way I would have wanted to. That's why I wasn't in the clip. But a beautiful job defensively. So hard to pressure, to have ball pressure when you have so many different actions that you have to guard. And they'll backdoor cut you. They'll screen away from the basketball. they do a lot of, I saw flares.
Yep.
They do a lot of different stuff on offense that you have to guard. But our guys were really locked in. Did you see that kind of early in walkthroughs and stuff that these guys really had the game plan?
We did. I think, you know, sometimes you also got to be lucky to win a championship. And Lincoln Christian does some similar actions. And so it helped us in preparation before going down there and knowing who you're going to play, that you work on that. But to go back to what we do all year, we try to work on defensively different actions that we'll see. Pin down actions, flare screen actions, how we're going to guard ball screens differently. You know, sometimes we work on switching in practice of ball screens. Sometimes we're working on hard edge. Sometimes we work on just getting through, fighting through. And so all that came to pass in this game, that we were able to put it all together and knock them off their rhythm offensively. They really never got a rhythm. I didn't feel, and you could feel it very early on in the game. And I think if you go back and watch the game, you know, because as a coach, we go back and watch it all the time. I think the announcer kind of said it early, like, this looks like it may be a defensive battle early.
Yep.
And it was a stark contrast to the night before. You know, the night before we scored 80-something points. And this time it was 68 that we scored, and they only scored 60. And I'm not saying that defense was bad the night before. It's just saying that we were so locked in defensively in that championship game that we caused them a lot of problems.
It was a lot, and it wasn't always the turnovers, but so many times they were deep in the shot clock.
Yep.
It didn't really look comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not knowing that, hey, the next, you saw a lot of deep contested threes late into the shot clock that they looked to be really uncomfortable. But a heck of a basketball team is the Ozarks. Like you mentioned, shooters all over the place. You had Stone down in the post that could score it. A lot of different things to kind of guard. As you guys were looking at the tape, how difficult is it when you talk about having to do it not once but twice? Because, you know, tip you hat to Lincoln Christian as well. When you're watching the tape trying to prepare your team, coaches are like, oh man, like I need another few days to really have this in.
So you got to think about it. We played. It was 7 p.m. Central Time, which was 8 p.m. Eastern that Friday. So now you got to turn around. That game's not over. You probably, after you eat, you're not back to the hotel to maybe 10, maybe. And now you got to start watching film on the Ozarks as a coaching staff to get ready for your shoot around the next day to have those guys prepared. You know, we were able to send some film, the film of their game that played before us, versus Crawley's Ridge, to them. Electronically, we were able to send that so they could at least watch some stuff they were able to do. And then we got to shoot around and we were able to just talk about some things that we really wanted to hone in on with them and some things we could take advantage of on the offensive end versus them. And our guys are ready. They met the challenge.
Awesome. So, Coach, we are getting into prep for the national tournament. What are our dates for nationals? Let's talk location and all that good stuff.
Well, we can't prep yet because the selection show is not until tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern,
right,
via the My Play NAIA Facebook page. So we're going to have a little gathering that we're going to broadcast over our streaming platform, like we broadcast our games, that we'll have our guys together and show who we're going to play and where we got to go. So we actually don't know any of that yet. They actually cut the tournament down this year to only 48 teams because of COVID.
Okay.
Instead of everybody going to the final site, which is Kansas City, Missouri, they're doing 8 regional sites. And so you've got 3-team pods going to 8 regional sites. So if we get a 1 seed, then we don't play until March 13th, that Saturday, for whoever the winner is of a 2-3 seed. If we get a 2-3 seed, we got to win 2. You know, we got to win that Friday night to get to the Saturday to play the number 1 seed. Nothing we're not accustomed to. Either way is fine with us. We're just taking it one game at a time, and we're gearing up, you know, doing different things in practice until we can start really preparing for who we have. But it's a blessing, man, to be here. You know, we talked today in practice. There are only 48 teams still playing right now in AI. Only 48 still have the opportunity. They're not washing jerseys. They're not turning stuff in. They're not having end-of-season meetings. We're one of that 48, and we're blessed to be one of them.
That's fantastic. This is a big change for NAI. Is it not the way that tournament is being handled? Normally, is everybody going back to back?
A lot of people have said it's one of the best environments you could ever go to. We've got all those teams there, and they know it's you win or you go home, and it's a little bit different. But COVID makes things different, so we're fine with it. But just understand, hopefully when things get back to normal, we can't wait for another opportunity to when we have it all together at one site.
Outstanding. Well, we certainly know what we want to happen. I think we need four to win the whole thing. So somebody's going to go 4-0. Why not us?
Why not us?
Coach, I'm assuming that once we understand where we are tomorrow at 7, we understand where we are, what seed we get, what pod that we go to, then the streaming information and all that stuff will be communicated about how everybody will get a chance to watch and cheer on our guys.
Correct.
During the tournament, correct?
Correct. Probably if not tonight, tomorrow morning there'll be a streaming where all our fans can watch if you want to watch out the selection show through us, so you can see our guys and see our reactions, and we'll have a little program where we talk about our guys. You can watch it through there. You can just watch it straight from their page, my Play NAI Facebook page, and see who plays where. But once that happens, definitely Voorhees will send something out that have the streaming options, so you can watch us play wherever we're playing, whoever we're playing.
I love it. Might as well go ahead and give us that number 1 seed. We want our conference. Lock us in with the number 1 seed and let us go from there. A very exciting time. I'm sure all the guys are excited. I would like to think it was probably a different level of energy, a lot of smiles in practice today. How do you gear up for a team that hasn't been announced yet? Are we just focusing on what we do in the meantime, or how do you handle that, Coach?
We focus on us, and there might have been some smiles, but like I said, we didn't want any complacency today. So they had to run a little bit today. I had to make sure they understood that there's a battle still to be won. So after we did our running and we had practice, there were smiles, but we understand there's a job still to be done, and it's not over. We don't want it to end next week. We feel we have a team that can continue to go, continue to keep pounding, continue to keep pushing the rock and doing the right things to win. And it's just going chunk by chunk, stack small wins. And so we've got to continue to stack small wins every day in practice, everything that we're doing. Probably the best thing to happen is that, there's so many protocols. And if I had to go through them, I can't even name them all. That the NAI is doing a great job of making sure all these teams are going to be, ready to play. So we've had to do some things about, almost self-quarantining our guys inside our little bubble here at Voorhees, even more than we already did. And I think that has even bringing our guys together even more. For
sure. Coach, have you given it any thought? And I know we talked about it a little bit, but have you given it any thought? If we really accomplish history and we go and win a national tournament, what it means, not just for Voorhees College, but for HBCU basketball as a whole, NAIA, Division I, Division II, the entire thing. Have you given any thought to how big that could be, to be a part of that historic moment?
I think it'll be huge, man. We talked even today in practice. We talked about there are only 48 playing, but we talked about, I think there are only 6 HBCUs still playing in NAIA. And it's really only 3 on the men's side. So 3 men, 3 women. And so when we talk about that, you realize how special it could be. But it's something that you have to have a vision for. If you don't have a vision, you can never get to the mission. And so my vision, even taking this job, was why not us? Why can't we be the first HBCU to win a national championship? And so we've got an opportunity this year. It's not going to be easy. Nothing's ever easy. But that's our challenge every year. I would be lying to you if I said I didn't want that. I didn't want to accept that challenge, that we didn't want to try to do that every year. So it will be very big. It will set a standard, not just for Voorhees, but a standard for all our HBCUs, that it can be done. That no matter whether you think you don't have the same resources, or you don't think you're playing on the same playing field for whatever reason, it can be done. And I think, when you look at from Division I on down, that's what we're trying to get to. We want to have that opportunity, regardless of resources, regardless of division. It doesn't matter.
Do you feel like a little bit that to make a tournament run, you have to, like you said, there is a little bit of luck to win a championship. You got to be healthy at the right time. You got to come together at the right time. Well, for you've had to deal with pieces in and out all season. Are we possibly getting healthy and getting whole at the right time?
We believe so. We think that we're ready to go. We've got guys for various reasons who can be next man up if it came to that. But we are locked and loaded and ready to go, knock on wood, that once we get wherever we're going next week, we'll have a full team ready to go and ready to battle to take it day by day, game by game.
Absolutely. Does anything change once you get into the tournament? I know sometimes in NBA basketball, like the rotations and things get a little shorter once they get into the playoffs. Does anything change the way you handle anything once you get into the tournament?
I mean, I'm always about every possession matters, whether defensively or offensively. I don't think that changes from a regular season game to a conference tournament game to a national tournament game. That's going to stay the same no matter what. I think for me and we go by feel. And if you were to watch both games, you can see it was a different rotation pattern based off the feel of what was going on in that game. Prime example, we had never done this all year. But if you go back and watch the second half of that championship game, we rolled 6 guys. And we normally play way more than 6 guys. But the second half of that game, we rolled 6 guys. And the best part about it is that we had guys on the bench. Coach, don't even look back here. They good.
That's good. That's guys. That's a sign of guys really being locked in.
Yep.
Right, really being locked in and really being about the win, which is amazing. Speaks to the culture you've been able to set.
I mean, I'm looking at numbers right here. This gives you a prime example. So Friday night, Joel Davis plays 13 minutes. Right. Saturday night championship, he plays 29.
Wow.
Wow.
That's
an example of it right there.
Does it also speak to never really knowing whose night it's going to be offensively?
And that's kind of how we built this team. Like we've got guys on any given night. Stan Levine on Friday night, 29 and 10. He can give you that.
Mm-hmm.
Also know we've got so many guys where it's hard to guard us when we've got 5, 6, 7, 8 guys who all can put the ball in the hole. They all can do so many different things,
For sure. I got to check on some of my guys.
All
right. Bryce, how's Bryce doing?
He's doing great, man. I mean, I think if you want to talk about taking the next step, once we probably not just in the tournament, but even right before the tournament, he took a next step in his game, just really buying into what we've been doing. Even so much so. And then I say that because we're going back, looking at numbers. He played 27 minutes, almost 28 Friday night. Saturday night, he plays 9. And he's still locked in. Still locked in. So he's been really good, man. Really good for us.
Awesome. My guy Rosario is back. Played really well in the championship game. How's Rosario doing, Coach?
He's been really good, man. I mean, we had practice today, and he did something in practice, and Coach Williams goes, "Man, that guy's really good." That guy's really good. I mean, I don't know if there's another guy on a team that's leading the team in points, rebounds, assists, and steals.
Wow. Speaks to his and he's got an amazing story. Speaks to his motor. Speaks to his motor.
I mean, you talk about that story being cut as a ninth grader, and just working to get to where he is right now, and his motor just goes. Like it was so funny because obviously he didn't have a game he wanted Friday night in the semifinals. He was happy we won, but he was disappointed in himself because he didn't play well. Mm-hmm. We just had to, we as a staff had to say, hey, you're going to be fine. We won the game. You live to see tomorrow. You just got to pick it up tomorrow. And he did that in the championship game.
It's going to be awesome continuing to watch the growth of his game. And I'm sure that the rest of the teams in conference can't wait for him to graduate. So they don't have to deal
with. He's just a sophomore now. He's just a sophomore.
Right. He's going to be here for a while. These guys are going to have to learn to deal with it. But
my guy James Williams, see, he's my numbers guy. So Hector Rosario, I'm believing that's who, even though he didn't have a game he thought was plus 21. When we talk about, your effectiveness on the floor, plus 21. Even in the game he didn't think he played well in.
But it goes back to what you said, Coach. It's about the expectation.
Yep.
The expectations have been set, and these guys are buying into being champions and what comes with that. And sometimes it's that elusive P word, which is perfection.
Yes.
That we're all chasing, and that we're all on the road to that perfection. Coach, as we see Coach Williams putting in some stats for us in the comments section, let's talk about the coaching staff and how things are coming together as a staff and how you guys enjoyed the conference championship.
It was a moment to remember, man. You get two guys who you never worked together before. So we talk about players learning each other, but you got three coaches who are learning each other, whether it's when do I say something in practice? How do I let this coach rock out to make sure they have a voice? All those things play a big difference. And I think one of the things that really was a turning point as well as, Coach O is one of our big part of what we do skill development wise. So he was always having his segments in practice. But as we moved forward, as we got through January and moved towards February, it was how do we involve Coach Williams more and making sure he had segments all the time in practice every day. And I think once we did that, it gave Coach Williams more of a voice. It gave the guys more of understanding what Coach Williams wanted from them, especially on the defensive end. And it changed us. We got better once we did start doing that in practice. So everybody was learning everybody. It was the learning curve just kept going up every practice, every game. And, we were just trying to get 1% better every day.
You can see it. I felt like I saw a couple of moves out there, and I was like, man, I wonder if that's Coach O. Anytime I see jab step, boom, drop cross, go to the hole, finish it. I was like, oh, I wonder if that's Coach O. Coach, what an amazing season.
It's not done, though. It's not done.
Right. But I just want to make sure that we give you your flowers, so to speak, right? Like, I know you deflect to your coaches, you deflect to your kids, to the opportunity that you were given. But Coach, first-year head coach in college, I should say, stepped in under circumstances that I still don't know. As much as we talk about it or have alluded to it on the show, I don't think people truly understand. We just talked about your coaching staff. You took the job, started recruiting started building this organization without a staff in place.
Correct.
First days of practice, Coach O can't get on campus yet. Coach Williams isn't on the staff yet, and we're still here.
We're still here.
I think we have to give you your flowers as well, just on an incredible, difficult mission. But I don't think that you would want it any other way.
It makes it that much sweeter, man. I think, I remember telling Ms. Johnson how difficult this was going to be this season.
Absolutely.
How we were ready for it. And, a couple of things that I'm really big on is organization and detail. And I think from everything that I tried to have in place before those guys got here, it was all about organization. I mean, I had practices skeletoned out for the first 10 days, maybe. First, I had when we were going to leave for games, all that was already done, just skeleton out once I got the job. And that organization, I think, really paid its dividends in a season like we had. It's been amazing, man. I can't, there's nothing, I can't sugarcoat it. It's been amazing. It's been one of the most gratifying seasons I've ever had as a coach.
Absolutely. Have you given any thought to the things that you learn along the way, maybe from some of the other coaches that you coached under coming through that paid dividends during this season, or things that you learned from some of the coaches that you've been around?
Man, I go back to working for Mark Byington and his attention to detail. I mean, that was the first thing I ever learned when I got into college basketball. I had it as a high school coach, but watching him work and how he planned everything out, whether it was recruiting, whether it was academics, whether it was travel, that stuck with me, as especially getting this job of how you got to plan everything out.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing where I'm going to recruit, knowing why I'm going to recruit there, knowing why I want to play this game and who we're playing for a purpose, knowing how we're going to get this team together and why we're doing certain things. I even think about Drew Catlett, who was my assistant at St. Francis, who he had been in the college game for so long, Georgia State, West Virginia, Randolph-Macon. And I remember just watching him sometimes and just picking his brain about why they would do certain things. So when we talk about what we want to do offensively and defensively, it plays to those kind of things, man. And then you take just who I work with now. Coach Williams is so analytical. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not the biggest analytics guy. I listen to him. I'm still on field, but sometimes he'll hit me with some analytic stuff that really makes me really think. He hit me with one, I think, as we were traveling back. And like I said, he's big on it. The plus minus stuff, he's big on that. And he goes, Coach, the way you subbed in the tournament fell right in line with the plus minus system after I looked at it after the game. Now, I'm not subbing based off a plus minus system. I'm subbing off how I feel. But that just goes into how everything started playing together, how we were learning each other. Coach Williams learning myself. I'm learning him. We going back and forth. Like we got so good, he could come tell me, Coach, I see this. Maybe we should do this. And even if I said, no, I don't want to do it right now, he understood why. Like that's a big understanding when you're learning each other. Because sometimes when you don't know each other yet, we don't understand why somebody may say no. So I think that's really big.
That's Coach Williams. So prepared is crazy to watch firsthand. Walking out his dream. I agree with you, Coach.
Appreciate it, Coach. I
agree with you, Coach, 100%. It is kind of the feel for the game is kind of uncanny sometimes. So I love where we are, though, Coach. I love the position that we're in. Although I feel like it's incredible to be here. You and I have talked about nothing but this.
Yeah.
Right? Since the beginning, the opening show, it was let's go win a conference championship and let's go get to to the national tournament. And let's go win one, right?
Yep.
Or a couple, right? Let's go win some. We've talked about that from the very beginning, and it feels amazing for it not to just be a playful thing, but we knew the work that was being put in to make that a reality. So I wanted to personally say congratulations. I appreciate you for giving me the opportunity to go along the ride with you, and to be a part of it in some way. It's been a amazing thing, and I've learned a lot, even myself, on how to handle adversity coaching the team. So appreciate you, man, for letting us take the ride, the Love of the Game family, to take the ride with you, man.
Appreciate you and this vision, man, of having this coaches show, having this podcast is something that hadn't been done down here at Voorhees. And when we talk about making sure our program is just as good as everybody else, we've got to do things like this. Having a coaches podcast, whether it's me, whether it's whoever, I just think it brings so much attention, so much good attention to what Voorhees has to offer, period. We're ready for this. That's what we're ready for right there.
Yes. Yes. Let's get the rings going. Can I order one, Coach? If we win, I want to order one, man.
Let's go. I mean, that's a culmination of what we're trying to do, not just this year, but every year. Down here, like, as we talk about in little old Denmark, South Carolina, it is a pleasure to coach these young men. It's a pleasure.
Yes. Coach, that's our show for this week. Do we want to give the listeners a kind of feed into where information may be posted once for the selection show, for also for the national tournament, the links and stuff to watch the game? Do we want to give them some feedback as to where those things may be posted?
Definitely follow our Twitter and our IG accounts, but definitely post them there. The Voorhees Men's Basketball Tiger Vision accounts, our website, the Voorhees Athletic website, also the My Play NAIA Facebook page. Again, you can find all the stuff there as far as the selection show. And then if you go to the NAIA page, it'll have the brackets up once they get revealed and all the information of how to watch. And we want you guys watching. We want all our Voorhees community, whether you're here, whether you're somewhere else, to tune in, watch these young men leave it on the court next week.
Absolutely. I'll be locked in. Come join me. We'll be locked in to figure out where we play first, and get all the information to cheer on our Voorhees Tigers as we head on out and prepare for the national tournament. That's our show for today. This is episode 10 of Voorhees Tiger Vision. I'm your host, Mondre Allen, here with Coach Huff. And we'll catch you guys next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you, everybody.